So yeah, just never feeling like anything is going to last, anything good is going to last, because you're waiting for the shoe to drop, the other shoe to drop. You know, you're waiting for something to fall apart and just make the whole house of cards crumble because you faked it for so long. Hey guys, it's Stacey Michelle. This is an ADHD is the New Black vlog. I wanted to do a vlog on a question that I see pop up online, people seeking to find out if they actually have ADHD, and just those of you who are curious. And the question is, what is it like to have ADHD? What is it like to have ADHD? If you had asked me that 4 years ago, I would have been like, I don't know, I guess running late. I don't know, flaky. I don't know. I would have given you the greatest hits. ADHD, greatest hits. The only way anyone can ever talk about what it's like to have ADHD is if they have ADHD BT and ADHD AT, before treatment and after treatment, because only then can you make a comparison. I can talk about, I think very specifically now, what my life was like before treating ADHD and what it's still like on the days that I'm not on guard or that I'm not medicated. And I'm just going to be straight up. Medication's not for everybody, but for me, it has been a blessing. So I have an iPad over here in case you're wondering what I'm looking at. My breaking point to getting my diagnosis was that I had started to just resign myself to the fact that some people just need taken care of. I really felt like I was that person that just needed to be taken care of financially. It's not because I don't like to work. I am the hardest working person ever. I've always worked multiple jobs just to pay the rent. It's a hard way to live. A friend of mine used to point out, you have 5 jobs and you still can't pay your bills. There's a problem here. Yeah, I know. Can you tell me? Tell me. I want to know. To be honest, guys, I could still use a financial caretaker. I know how to make money. I just don't know how to make money all the time. But I'm still here. This is what I wrote. I had lost hope that my life would change because I had been in the same pattern of behavior since I entered the workforce in my early 20s. But, you know, upon further reflection, it was before I entered the workforce. It's just I had a good structure beneath me, a good, hold on.
This is a reminder. Charge my phone.
Okay, so the only reasons that I wasn't struggling as much in college and high school was because of the structure, because I had schedule, and because I had, you know, very short-term goals, like, okay, get to the end of the semester. It was the short-term and the constant change of things that I didn't realize was like actually good for me. And then of course you got into the workforce and it's all you. It is all you. You have to create the structure. You have to create the safety nets. You have to rebuild the scaffolding. And if you don't know you got to build scaffolding, you are still operating using the same coping mechanisms you've always used, and they fall apart pretty quickly. Okay. These are the symptoms that I struggled with the most. BT, before treatment, impulsivity in my behavior and my choices, jumping in headfirst on everything. For instance, when I was first married, I saw this couple running a teleprompter business. They owned their own teleprompter. And so my husband at the time, I was like, oh, we could do that. And he bought the teleprompter, very expensive like $1,400 or something. And of course, I just kind of lost interest in it when I figured out how hard it was, and it was like totally boring. He never let me live that one down. Really poor at planning ahead, really poor at planning for the long term, really poor at planning for my future, even the fun stuff. I take trips kind of not spur of the moment, but it's like, you know, I haven't been home in about a year. I'm gonna go home in 2 weeks. Planning for my future. I've thought about it, just haven't figured out how to do it. I've been thinking about it since I was 23 years old, and everything I've tried. I read the Wall Street Journal guide to finance and investments when I was 23, 24. I got through that whole book and I was like, what the heck did I just read? Oh, whoa. I used to do the news. I used to read the Dow Jones Industrial. Had no clue what I was talking about. Pig futures, whatever. Had no clue what I was talking about. I wanted to be a makeup artist, but only because these are ways I've been trying to find to keep money coming in. You know, all of these are ways I'm like, oh, I can make decent money doing that. That looks like something I can do. And I can do these things. A makeup artist was giving up her kit. She sold the whole thing to me. Like, I just had a fully stocked kit. I worked on one film and I'm like, no way. I like the tactile part of putting makeup on people's faces, but I never gained the full confidence that I was doing it right. I did a few celebrities' faces. They looked fantastic. I was just always like, it looks good. And then I just was like, I don't want to do this. It's a career. And that was not my career choice. Oh, in college, I bought some fine china. My aunt had a china set that looked just like it. And in my mind, I was planning for the future. I'm like, when I graduate and buy a house, I'm already gonna have some fine china. Had like your mama's china, like, real fine bone. That shit sat in a box for 5 years because I was in college when I ordered it. But I'm like, when I graduate college and I buy my house, I'm gonna have china to put in my china closet. I've never owned a house. I've never owned a china closet. And it had like the silver ring around the edges, not silver, but the little gold plated around the edges. And I remember this girl was staying with me when she first started working at the newspaper I was working at. And she put that shit in the microwave and it blew up. And I was just like, oh my God, this is my fine china. That's one of those impulse things that I did that seemed like a good idea at the time. What else did I do? Oh, I got married. That was an impulsive thing. No, it wasn't impulsive. It was just a bad decision. It wasn't the best decision. Let's put it that way. Let's see. Oh, I want to try that. I want to try everything. I want to do everything. Especially if I think it'll support me. It'll make me some more money. I'm not money hungry. I always feel like I live in lack. I don't like that. I'm going to be honest with you. I live in a lack mentality. I'm trying to get rid of it. I live in fear. I have a lot of fear around finances because I have always struggled my whole life, my whole adult life with finances. Because my first career didn't pay enough to well, first of all, I had no money literacy coming out of my teenage years, none whatsoever. I assumed that just because everybody else goes to college, they get a job, they pay a mortgage. I thought that's just like 1 + 1 is 2. I thought it just naturally happened that way. So I went into my adulthood thinking that things just happen. You get a job, you make money, you have enough money to pay your bills, pay your rent, your mortgage, your car, whatever. I was so overextended because I'm like, well, shoot, I got a paycheck. I'm making money. Why is this paycheck? Why do I not ever have money? Because I had more bills than I had money. Anyway, still that way. These are things that I still struggle with, but I try to stay out of jobs now where this becomes an issue. My inconsistent performance with anything that requires a lot of detail. What I hate about that is that I have talked myself out of opportunities because I can see down the road enough that this is going to require a lot of detail, and then they're going to see that I'm not good at it, and then they're going to think I'm dumb. I'll give you a specific example. When I started working for TMZ back in 2012, I was hired to be a tour host, fancy word for tour guide, a rolling show host, whatever, a remote show host, tour guide on the TMZ tours. The best thing about that job, it was mostly a fun job. It did not require a lot of attention to detail. It incorporated everything that I'm good at, which is entertaining live audiences. And then I was on the show as well. And then I got to be mobile and moving around every day. I was approached by my immediate supervisor. Hey, Stace, if you want to, work in the office and be a PA, do some PA work, it's totally available to, keep money coming in. When he said PA work, in my mind, my hair just went because I knew I know myself. And I'm like, if I take this PA job and I mess up somebody's sandwich order, if I get Harvey's sandwich order wrong, it's going to require a lot of detail-oriented stuff. And they had a very meticulous tracking system of how they kept up with everything. The PAs were all pretty very exacting. I will get fired. I won't just get fired from being a PA. I'll get fired from a job they actually hired me to do that I'm good at. That was my fear, and I didn't want to look stupid or dumb or like inept. I didn't want them to think poorly of me. So I just told them, I said, you know what, me and office equipment, I can just look at a copy machine, things blow up. And he was like, okay. I talked myself out of every opportunity that came up that would have allowed me to move up. I wanted to become a comedy writer there, but nobody was ever considering me ever again for that, because I talked myself of actually working in the building all day, because they're like, oh, you said you're not good at, computers and stuff. And I'm just like, I can write. Funny, that's my jam. So that's the thing. I've talked myself, I know, out of many opportunities out of fear, but the fear was founded because anything that involved a lot of attention to detail, I struggled really hard at it. Oh, let's see. Chronic tardiness. That's an ADHD thing. It struggles so hard. Disorganization. Oh, joy seeking. Chronic joy seeking. Just doing jobs that are fun. Accepting jobs that are fun. Not necessarily always accepting jobs that are fun, because I've had a lot of unfun jobs, but whenever anyone has asked me, hey Stacy, weren't you a driving school instructor when you first moved out here to LA? Yeah, I did that job because my ex needed I need to have sponsoring him because he wasn't like American. How was that job? It wasn't fun. You worked at TMZ, how was it? That was fun. I never thought about it until after I got re-diagnosed. I've always described any job I've ever had that was fun, or that wasn't fun. Procrastination, yeah, that's something I've gotten better on though, much better. That's just, but before, before BT, all right. Starting projects but not finishing them, that I'm better at that now, a lot better at that now. But yeah, that was just a way of life before. Getting off task, that's still a challenge. Trouble following instructions. If you're telling me instructions, it's an issue, because pills don't fix ADHD, it doesn't cure it, but if you're telling me instructions on how to do something, it's like, you need to repeat that. And I'm talking about what life was like every single day of my life prior to getting treatment, okay? These things just multiply them by 10. Following instructions, like, you didn't do that the right way. Oh, failure to plan ahead, I already talked about that. I like, the future, whatever. Everything was a crisis. Everything was a crisis. And it wasn't a crisis, I made it a crisis. I used to live in a constant state of crisis before treating my ADHD. Constant state of crisis. Oh gosh, working so hard and not having the results to show for my hard work. Just perfectionism. I didn't know that's what it was at the time, but BT before treatment, just working so hard, just harder than everybody else around me for the same or not even as good of results as they had. I was a server at a restaurant in Midtown in New York City. We had mise en bleu. We had to set the table a certain way. I hated that part. No matter how I set the table, somebody would always come behind me and have something to say about the way I set the table. And I would look at somebody else's table and I'd look at my table and I'm like, I don't see the difference. It's because I couldn't see details. It's like, you just do it to be this direct. What it's like to me, that was like, really? That little half inch makes a difference? But that's the thing. The devil's in the details. Gosh, I hate hearing that. But that was the thing. I would get into trouble for things like that. Things that to me were just like, but they would look at it and go, these tables don't look alike. And I'm like, yeah, they do. The napkin's right here. The fork is here. And they're like, it's the positioning. And I'm just like, overcompensating. Completely tied to this. I would be working so hard for results that were less than optimal. And then I would be overcompensating so much that I wouldn't even finish my side work. That is just quick cliff notes of what it's like to have ADHD on paper. What is it like emotionally to have ADHD? I can't say you, I got to a point where I couldn't even trust myself to make good decisions. I didn't trust my opinions. I didn't trust the way I did things because it was always wrong to somebody else, It's like, the fork and the knife are on the table. And when you don't trust yourself, you get the feeling like you can't take care of yourself, which goes back to the first thing I said, that I started feeling like I'm just one of those people that needs to be taken care of. Of course, I've learned in the last few years, boy, all of that was really wrong thinking, so wrong. But your self-confidence is just gone. You know, you have hardly any self-esteem left because nothing you do is right. Nothing is just not good enough, you know, because the things that other people do so easily are so hard for me. So hard for me. Yet some of the things that I do easily are so hard for them. But this is not that vlog. I always had this feeling that, and this was only in the last, right before I started getting my treatment, that I just needed somebody to tell me what to do. Just tell me what to do. I don't want to try to keep figuring it out anymore. I can't trust myself. I don't know how to take care of it. Just tell me what to do and I'll do that. I needed instructions. I needed directions. I needed direction. Just tell me what to do. Don't give me too many choices. Just tell me what to do. Ayanla, please fix my life. I was always looking for somebody to fix my life. Always somebody outside of myself. Something outside of myself to fix me. And only the diagnosis could fix me. Just always feeling wrong-headed in the world. Being told that the way I thought was wrong by my own ex-husband, but we won't talk about that. Oh, and a friend of mine, but she was an asshole. Just never feeling like I was reaching my full potential. I'm pretty sure I've talked about some of these things in a previous video that I made a couple of years ago. But the answer to the question of what is it like to have ADHD, it feels like you are never in control of your life consistently. Sometimes you feel like, oh wow, man, I got this thing, because we have so many successes, so many hard things that we are interested in or skilled at or gifted at. We are so good at those things, and in those moments when it's working, when the things that when those things are in alignment with your skills, yes, you're like, yes, man, I got life figured out. I'm doing life, man. I'm making money. But then there was always that thought in the back of my head, how long was this gonna last? Just, so yeah, just never feeling like anything is going to last, anything good is going to last, because you're waiting for the shoe to drop, the other shoe to drop. You're waiting for something to fall apart and just make the whole house of cards crumble, because you faked it for so long, and you've even faked it up to that point of success. And it's like, I don't know enough. Somebody knows more than me, and that's a hard way to live. It sucks thinking everybody else knows better than you. And it's like, dang, Stacey, how have you lived all these years on your independent? I've been very independent my whole life. That's the funny thing. That's funny. I am a weird success story. I am the weirdest success and cautionary tale at the same time. Like, for instance, right now I have like $0 in any of my checking accounts, and I know that any second now that's going to turn around, because money just falls out of the sky on me. No, because doggone it, I'm making a go at this channel. I'm making a go at being an entrepreneur. COVID gave me the freedom, the privilege of time to do that, to think about what I really want to do with my life. And I know the purpose of my life is to serve other people. And so far, I didn't get into this thinking I'm gonna make this a living. But because none of my jobs have come back, it's like, well, just because I do comedy, just because I'm funny, I feel like I'm doing it more for me than I was for my audience. But this feels like I'm doing it for the audience. This is me giving. This is not for validation anymore. This isn't to make people laugh so I feel good about myself anymore. This is, I have something of value to share with people. By my successes, my failures, my treatment, my just figuring it out still, sometimes you have to just go back to the drawing board when things don't work anymore, and that happens. So anyway, what's it like to have ADHD? It's amazing and it sucks. And when you're unaware of what's going on with you, it sucks bad when it sucks because you just don't feel like you even deserve to breathe. Like you feel like you're taking up somebody else's air. And when it's going well, you don't know why it's going well. You're just like, oh, I hope this lasts. I don't even know the formula to why this is working. That's why everybody who thinks they have ADHD should get a proper diagnosis. Or if somebody is watching this because you're like, what's it like to have ADHD? I wonder if I have it. Your life will be 180 degrees in the opposite direction in a good way if you commit to getting treatment. And that's all I have to say about that. So that's the vlog. What is it like to have ADHD? It's amazing and it sucks.
Yeah. Hey guys, you like this music? It's royalty free. This is Stacy Michelle. If you have enjoyed anything about my channel so far, then please consider going to my Patreon page and partner with me so that I can continue to make high quality, even higher quality content that will hopefully provide more encouragement, more education, and more laughs to little girls and grown women who look just like me and just like you so that they can fulfill their potential with ADHD.